You have been Grand Master of the Knights Templar for 9 years, and in that time you have negotiated with kings, argued theology before popes, commanded armies in the Holy Land, and administered a banking network that moves more gold than most nations will ever see. You are Jacques de Molay. You are 70 years old. You are standing in the Great Hall of the Paris Temple on the evening of October 12th, 1307, and you do not know that tonight is the last ordinary night of your life. Not the last safe night, the last ordinary one. The distinction matters. Tomorrow morning, at first light, officers of the French crown will arrive at every Templar house in France simultaneously. Hundreds of locations, coordinated in absolute secrecy over 2 years of planning. The largest arrest operation the medieval world has ever seen. Philip IV has been preparing this moment since 1305. He owes the Templars money he cannot repay, and so he has decided to make the debt disappear by making the creditors disappear. You have heard rumors. You have dismissed them. You have attended the funeral of Philip's brother-in-law only 4 days ago as a mark of loyalty and respect, because you cannot imagine, not truly, that a Christian king would move against the order that bled for Jerusalem. You could not be more wrong. The letters ordering your arrest have already been distributed. The soldiers are already in position. Tonight, for the last time in your life, you will go to sleep as the most powerful military commander in Christendom. You will wake up in chains as a heretic and a sodomite and a worshipper of false idols, charges so grotesque that they would be comic if the men making them did not have the absolute power to burn you alive for them. You have been a Templar for 54 years. You joined as a young man in Burgundy, when the order was still the undisputed holy vanguard of the Christian world, when to wear the white mantle with the red cross was to wear the most recognizable symbol of sacred purpose in the known world. You gave them everything. You gave them the years when you were young enough to want a different life. You gave them the years in Acre, in Cyprus, in the brutal political maze of Outremer, watching the Crusader states dissolve piece by piece while European kings sent prayers instead of soldiers. You watched Acre fall in 1291. You were there. You saw what happens when the supply of faith runs out faster than the supply of enemies. You retreated to Cyprus with the survivors and spent the following years attempting to convince a continent of comfortable Christians that the Holy Land could be recovered, that the order was still necessary, that the sacrifice still meant something. Nobody listened. Nobody sent armies. And while you were making that argument across the courts of Europe, Philip IV was in Paris counting what the Templars owned and calculating what he could take. This is the thing about power that takes a lifetime to understand, and you are 70 years old and you have still not finished understanding it. Power does not care what you have done. It does not keep a ledger of service and sacrifice and loyalty and pay the balance when you need it. Power cares what you can do right now, today, and what you represent to the person who wants what you have. You bled for Jerusalem. You administered the finances of half of Europe. You housed pilgrims and funded kings and ran the first truly international banking system in human history. The letter of credit, the network of preceptories, the ability to deposit money in Paris and withdraw it in Acre. You built all of that, and none of it matters tonight. What matters tonight is that Philip needs money, and you have it. And the Pope is a Frenchman who owes his position to Philip, and there is no power left in Christendom that will intervene between a desperate king and the men he has decided to sacrifice. Tomorrow they will come for you before the city wakes. You will be taken to the Temple Tower, your own tower, in your own house, and the questions will begin. You do not know yet what the questions will be, but you will find out. They will ask you about the initiation ceremony, about the secret kiss, about the idol called Baphomet, about the denial of Christ. They will ask you in ways designed to produce confession rather than truth. The Inquisitors have been doing this for 300 years, and they are very good at it. Some of the brothers will confess immediately. Some will confess after days without sleep, without food, in cold cells in the dark. Some will confess to things that have no basis in reality because the human mind, given enough deprivation, will eventually say anything to make the questions stop. You will confess too. Not to everything, and not quickly, but you will confess. They will read your confession publicly at Notre Dame, and you will stand there in front of the crowd and let them read it. Because at that moment, you believe the confession is the path to some negotiated end, some way for you, and the order to survive this in some diminished but living form. You are wrong. The confession is not the path to survival. It is the mechanism of destruction. Once you have confessed, you are a convicted heretic. The only question remaining is whether you die in prison or whether you die in fire. 6 years will pass between your arrest tonight and your execution. 6 years of imprisonment, of legal proceedings, so corrupt they would embarrass a market swindler, of watching the order you spent your life building dismantled document by document and preceptory by preceptory until there is nothing left to dismantle. 6 years of being moved from cell to cell, questioned and re-questioned, watching brothers die in prison and brothers burn in the streets. 6 years of waiting to find out what Philip and his Pope will do with you. On March 18th, 1314, you will find out. You and 3 surviving leaders of the order will be brought to a platform in front of Notre Dame to have your sentences confirmed. The sentence is life imprisonment. You will stand on that platform in the cold March air, and you will look at the crowd, and you will look at the men who have done this, and something in you will finally, completely refuse. You will recant your confession, publicly, on the platform. In front of everyone, you will say that the confession was false, extracted by torture and threat, and that the order was innocent and pure, and that you lied, and that you are sorry for having lied. You will say this knowing exactly what it means. A relapsed heretic is not imprisoned. A relapsed heretic burns. They will burn you that same evening on a small island in the Seine, the Ile des Juifs, between the royal gardens and the left bank. They will chain you to a stake. The fire will be built low and slow, the way experienced executioners build it when they want the dying to take longer, when the dying is meant to be witnessed and remembered and used. You will burn for a long time. And here is what the chronicles say, and here is what you need to sit inside. Because this is the thing that matters most about this moment. You will face the fire in the direction of Notre Dame, and you will die praying. Not screaming, not recanting your recantation, praying. Whatever you believed in the years when it was easy to believe, whatever survived 6 years of imprisonment and the collapse of everything you built, it survived this too. It survived the fire. But before the fire, there is tonight. And tonight you do not know any of this. Tonight you are the Grand Master. Tonight the Paris Temple is lit and warm, and the brothers are at their evening prayers, and the entire vast machinery of the order is functioning in its ordinary rhythms. The accounts being balanced, the horses being fed, the correspondence being drafted to preceptories from London to Cyprus. Tonight, the Templar network is the most powerful non-royal organization in the Christian world, and you are at the center of it, and nothing about the evening suggests that by morning it will be a crime to wear the white mantle. There is a version of tonight where you listen to the rumors more carefully, where you take seriously the reports coming out of the French court, the whispers about Philip's financial desperation, the quiet removal of certain political allies who might have intervened. There is a version of tonight where you move the treasury, warn the preceptories, send the most vulnerable brothers out of France before dawn. You did not do these things because you could not make yourself believe that the world you had given your life to would permit what Philip was planning to permit. Your faith in the order was also, without your knowing it, a faith in the civilization that created the order. You believed that the Pope would protect what the Pope had blessed. You believed that the sacred had some protection from the political. You believed that 54 years of service to the cross meant something to the men who wore the cross on their rings and their crowns. None of those things were true in the way you needed them to be true. What is true tonight is smaller and more durable than any of that. What is true tonight is that you have not betrayed anything you actually control. You did not sell the order. You did not compromise the brothers for personal safety. When they put you on that platform 6 years from now and give you the chance to confirm a false confession and live in a prison for whatever years remain to you, you will choose differently. You will choose the thing that cannot be taken by a king with soldiers and debts and a compliant pope. You will choose to say what is true in front of the people who built the fire. That choice is not made on the platform. It is made across a lifetime of smaller choices. And many of those choices were made in rooms like this one, in evenings like this one, when nothing was at stake and it was easy to be honest, and you were honest anyway. The fire does not get the last word. You do. You said it standing in chains in March, facing Notre Dame, knowing what was coming. And then you turned to face the flames and you prayed and you died and you did not unsay it. Tonight the city smells like wood smoke and river water and the fat candles burning in the chapel. The brothers are singing Compline. The horses are settled for the night. The accounts are balanced. In a few hours the soldiers will come and nothing about the world will be as it was. But right now it is evening in Paris, and you are the Grand Master and the order is whole, and for a few more hours you're living inside the last ordinary moment of a life that was never ordinary at all. This is not the story of a martyr who knew he was a martyr. Martyrs in the stories always know. They stride toward the flame with their eyes, already seeing the other side. You did not stride. You waited 6 years. You confessed to things that were not true because you were old and cold and the cell was dark, and you still believed, even then, that the institutional world would eventually correct itself, that someone in Rome would remember what the order had been, that the scales would balance. That belief was wrong, but it was not cowardice. It was the specific kind of faith that institutions breed in their most devoted servants, the belief that the structure is larger than the corruption inside it, that the men who built the cathedral would not burn the cathedral. Sometimes that belief is correct. In 1314, in the case of the Knights Templar, it was not. What they could not take from you, what Philip's lawyers never found a way to confiscate, was the moment on the platform. You had nothing left by then. The order was dissolved. The brothers were dead or scattered. The treasury was gone, absorbed into Philip's accounts and the coffers of the French crown. The preceptories were seized. The white mantle with the red cross was forbidden. 7 years of systematic destruction had reduced the most powerful military order in Christendom to 3 old men on a wooden platform and a sentence being read aloud. They had taken everything. And in that condition of total loss, with nothing left to protect and nothing left to gain, you found out what you were made of. You were made of something that could not be dissolved by papal bull or seized by royal decree or burned out by 6 years in a French prison cell. You were made of the willingness to say the true thing at the exact moment when saying it costs everything. Nobody teaches you how to do that. You do not prepare for it. The preparation, if there is one, is the 10,000 smaller moments over a lifetime when you had the choice between the easy answer and the true one, and you chose the true one when it cost you something minor, a convenience, an approval, a comfortable relationship with someone powerful. You do not know in those moments that you're practicing for anything. They just feel like integrity, small and daily and unremarkable. But the self that walks onto the platform is built from those moments. The self that faces the direction of Notre Dame and says the true thing is assembled across decades of ordinary choices made in ordinary rooms on ordinary evenings. Evenings like this one. Tonight, the bells are ringing for Compline. Somewhere in the chapel, the brothers are kneeling. You have knelt in that chapel 1,000 times. Tomorrow you will not kneel there again. But tonight, the candles are lit and the prayers are rising, and you are the Grand Master of the temple and the world for a few more hours, is exactly what you have always believed it to be. Hold that. Not because it will protect you. It will not. Hold it because it is true right now, and right now is the only moment anyone ever actually has. And truth held clearly in the present moment is the thing they build the self from, the self that will stand on the platform and refuse. You are making that self tonight. You are making it by living honestly inside an ordinary evening that is about to become the last one. You're making it by being exactly who you are in a room that does not know yet what it will ask of you. The fire will come. Let it come. The prayers will outlast it. They already have.